In today's video, I want to share with you 7 things I've changed to improve my life in my 30s. And these are all small things that have made a huge difference and have made me a calmer, happier, and more fulfilled person overall. I feel like every decade of your life brings with it its own unique perspectives. And of course, I am still on the struggle boat too sometimes, but overall, I have to say I love my life in my 30s. I look forward to life in my 40s, and I'm very happy that I learned these things when I did, because it's never too late to improve your life. So let's talk about it. Number 1 is that I stopped taking myself so seriously. I find that as soon as you're able to just laugh at yourself and find the humor in life, that's when life instantly becomes better, more enjoyable and easier. I have always been someone who tries very hard to do everything right, to get good grades in school and to do a good job at my work and to avoid making mistakes wherever I could. And with that comes kind of like a rigidity. So I used to find it very hard to deal with failure or to find my mistakes and screw-ups kind of funny in a way. And I just wanted to do everything well. When you take everything very seriously though, it is very hard to just let go and relax and have fun. And I think what changed is that one, I learned that you actually don't have control over a lot of things in life and that worrying doesn't actually achieve anything. And 2 is that it is okay for me to just let go of my ego and let people see me be a little silly or make mistakes or do dumb things or be a little weird. Life is just better when you're not being rigid or forceful. And part of that, I think, is just to not take yourself so seriously and to learn to laugh at your own mistakes. I have had so many embarrassing moments in my life, and I used to feel so awful and cringy remembering the times when I made a complete fool of myself without meaning to. But as I've gotten older, I've learned that it's actually okay and it's actually kind of funny in a way. I think with always trying to do a good job and to not let other people see you make mistakes or be imperfect comes the fear of being seen trying. And I think this is something that a lot of people can probably relate to, and it is such a waste because it can hold us back from trying new things or really going for something or putting yourself out there. Trying is being vulnerable, so it is scary to, for example, go to the gym for the first time because it is in public and people can see you trying and they can see you sweating and getting really tired after a beginner activity, and that is scary. Or maybe small things like you want to try something new with your hair or with your style and your fashion choices. You might have to try a few different things and look a little weird before you find something that works for you. Or maybe it is going to a painting class. You've never painted before, so you know that your first paintings are probably not going to be great. But if you're willing to put yourself out there and look silly and be vulnerable and just have fun trying, you will open yourself up to so many wonderful experiences and you will be much more likely to get what you want out of life. You don't have to have natural talent. It doesn't have to be effortless. You can just try and screw up and look silly and just laugh about it and move on with your life. If I hadn't learned to not take myself so seriously and to be able to laugh at myself, I don't think I would have been able to start this YouTube channel or to let go of my perfectionism or just have this much fun in life. The second thing I want to talk about is about jealousy and comparison. So I think it's normal to feel jealous sometimes or to compare yourself to someone else. I think we all do it sometimes, to just compare our life or what we have or how we look or how much money we make to others, to kind of see where we stand ourselves. But what really changed for me is 2 things. The first is that I've become much better at creating a more realistic picture, both of my own life and that of other people. Because I feel like when we compare ourselves to others or when we feel jealous of someone because they have something that we don't, we tend to usually only look at one thing. So maybe they're more successful in their career, or we feel that they look better or have a better skill set, or they have a nicer home, whatever it is. And then we feel lacking because we don't have that thing. But really, it's never just one thing. That one thing is part of their whole life. It is part of their whole package. And we all have things in our life that we are happy with. And then we also all have challenges and struggles too, like no one's life is perfect. So when I find myself comparing, I try to let go of comparing just that one thing that I wish I had, and instead view their whole package, their whole life, and mine as well. And I ask myself, would I want to change lives with this person? Like the whole package. And the answer is always no, because I love my life. And it is not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. I don't have to be. So just being more realistic in how I compare myself to others has made me feel so much more positive, content, grateful, and just a happier person. And the second thing that changed is that I no longer feel envy. So envy is when we want something that someone else has, and maybe even feeling a little satisfaction when certain things don't go their way, or feeling so left behind and so jealous that you can't genuinely be happy for someone else. I have never been really an envious person, but now it's completely gone away, because I realized that just because someone else has something or they're successful, for example, that doesn't take away anything from my life, and it doesn't decrease my chances of success or happiness. So usually it is not like there is a cake and as soon as someone else takes a slice, there's less cake left over for you. It's not like that. That's not how it works, and there's enough cake for everyone. And even if that is not true, it is still just so much better to cheer people on and to be genuinely happy for them and their success and their happiness. And maybe even take something from that as inspiration for your own life. And the third thing that I changed was that I started accepting my sensitive nature. I burned out at 28, and I mean completely burned out. It took me 2 years to recover and to somewhat feel like myself again. And while there were many factors that contributed to me burning out like that, including a few that were outside of my own control, I think a big part of that was that I didn't know I was a highly sensitive person, and I didn't accept my own sensitivity. So of course I knew that I was more sensitive than most people, and I did try to take some alone time and to take rest when I need it. But overall, I was just mostly pushing myself. I was pushing myself to have the corporate career and to meet my potential and basically to do as much as possible. When I was going through my burnout and I was seeing a therapist for a while, she told me that I'm a highly sensitive person, and a world opened up for me. I have a bunch of videos on that topic specifically, so if you're interested, I will leave the playlist down below. But it was definitely life-changing. And it's not like I accepted my sensitivity just like that. It is a journey, and I'm still working on it. I still push myself too hard sometimes, or I get frustrated because I didn't do everything that I wanted to do. But I've come a long way, and I do now try to give myself what I need to feel good and happy and to thrive, because I've learned what happens when I don't. So this involves trying to make time for rest when I need it, and learning to identify my boundaries and trying not to cross them, at least not often. But also setting boundaries for myself and others, voicing what I will and will not do, basically just trying to be unapologetically myself and feel like I'm good enough just the way I am. In my 30s, I also started focusing on friendships and relationships in my life more, and valuing the people who are in my life instead of wishing I had a larger social circle. When you're younger, it's easier to make friends. At least that's what I found. You constantly meet new people at school or your first jobs, and you have to work together or you get teamed up together. And that's how you meet new people, and you build up relationships and friendships quite easily because you're often in each other's company. But as you get older, it gets a little trickier, and I've even made a whole video about it on Patreon about going on an app to meet new friends and my experiences with it. It's just not as easy. And I was never the type of person to have a lot of friends. I was never that popular person that had a large social circle. I always had a small number of friends that I was close with. And even with my family, I don't have a large family, and I'm only in touch with a small part of it. So during my 20s, I've often felt a little bit lonely. And even though I had people in my life who I loved and who loved me, I was often wishing that I had more people in my life. For example, I never threw a birthday party in my own house for the people that I know because I just knew that not a lot of people would show and that would be kind of depressing for me. Also, I don't like having parties in my own house, but that's another issue. What I found now is that love isn't measured in the number of people. You can have a small community around you, even a tiny one, like one person, and still have so much love in your life. And I've learned how special it is to even have a few people in your life who I have known for 10 or sometimes even 20 years, who have been with me through so much, who really know me on a deep level and accept me for who I am and continue to be around even if I'm not perfect. Like 2 weeks ago, I took the train to visit a friend who I've known since starting college. So that was 17 years ago. How special is that? And even though we don't see each other every week or even every month, we still have that really special bond that I just value so much. And I have more people like that in my life, some of which I've even known more than 20 years. So in my 30s, I've really learned to deeply value the people that I have in my life. Instead of feeling a little lonely or wishing I had more friends or more family, having the people in my life that I love and who love me is so special, and I've learned to really appreciate that more. And this also includes not spending time with people who don't treat us well, and I think this could easily be its own video, but I think our 30s are a really good time to focus on positive relationships and decrease the amount of time we spend with people who don't treat us well. This is also a big one, embracing JOMO instead of FOMO. FOMO stands for fear of missing out. It is the anxiety that something exciting or interesting is going on somewhere else and we are missing it. It is a problem that has become especially big since the rise of social media. JOMO then stands for joy of missing out. So instead of being anxious about all the things you're possibly missing, this means unplugging and reconnecting with the simple pleasures in the present moment. When I was younger, I so often felt overwhelmed by all the things that a person can possibly do in their life, because what if I'm missing out? And also sometimes I felt like a loser because I wasn't doing all the things that all the cool people are doing. In theory, everything is basically possible, but at the same time, trying to do everything is so exhausting and anxiety inducing that most likely we can't even enjoy doing that thing in the moment. I've learned that for me, living life to the fullest doesn't mean cramming my days as full as possible and trying to do as much as possible and turn every moment into something. It is the empty space in between. It is the pauses. JOMO has given me an opportunity to take a break from all the things that I could be doing or that I see online, and instead find contentment right here, right now. So now, trying to keep up with reading all of the books that people are talking about and watching all the shows and going on all the trips that people are talking about, it feels exhausting already, and it is so much nicer to just live life in accordance with what I find important and what I enjoy, and just gladly miss out on all the rest. The next thing that I changed in my 30s is that I finally started prioritizing self-care and fully accepting that that's okay. There's something about being in your 30s that just really makes you realize that life is too short and that it is okay to make sure you have what you need to feel good, because then you can live your life and be there for others as well. It's like we're always receiving this message that we should minimize our own needs. Like, if you're tired, just have a cup of coffee. If you have a headache, just take a paracetamol and just go do your thing. And it's like if we take time to rest, then we're indulging. Or if we're spending money on a fun activity that would make us very happy, then we're splurging. But really, self-care is just a basic need. We all need rest and relaxation, and we all need fun things every once in a while. It's a necessity that helps to keep us going. And for me, a large part of that is also learning about self-compassion, which I've learned a lot about in my 30s so far, and it's a very interesting topic. Self-compassion can get you so much further than beating yourself up for, not being able to complete your to-do list that day because you just felt exhausted. Another wonderful thing I learned in my 30s is what it actually takes for me to be happy. It's not that I used to be someone who wanted a fancy house or a fancy car or fancy clothes or champagne parties in a hotel penthouse. I've always known that I'm happiest just living a simple life with my cup of tea and my book and people that I love. But there were definitely some things that I was scared to miss out on or that I felt like I should want. So let's say a vegan Michelin star restaurant opens up somewhere. I felt like I should book a table and book a hotel room and take the train and try it out because it's vegan and it's fancy and I like food. This is just one kind of silly example, of course, but I realized I don't need the fancy things. Like, they can be fun every once in a while and they give your life some variety and adventure. But in the end, I am much more happy finding contentment in the little things and valuing my life in all its mediocrity and just enjoying the present moment and being grateful for all my blessings. And it's not about being complacent. We can still try doing things like that and stepping out of our comfort zone. But it's about a mindset shift where instead of always wanting more things and new things and better things and more adventurous things, to finding like the basis of your happiness right here in your everyday life.